Yo, what is up everybody? It's Peace-I. Welcome to another video. So I got a really spicy deck profile that is technically considered budget. You could go all out and go beyond, but this is my budget version of Tenpai Fiendsmith Bystial. Very strong, powerful deck that's starting to pop up right now. The engines supplement each other so well. If you don't have the Fiendsmith package, I would consider picking up one engraver or borrowing it to just try it or try it out online. It's extremely powerful. So let's get into the list. I made this 40 cards. Usually people are playing a little bit higher count than that, but they're playing more hand traps like the Mole Charmies, and I opted to not play those. So this doesn't have any of the Mole Charmies, but you can add all 6 Mole Charmies to the main deck of this deck. And you do have the ability to go first with this deck, but usually people are maining the all 6 Mole Charmies, which is like amazingly insane. But you can go first or second with this deck. What you're ending on going first is DDD Wave King High Caesar and Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres plus hand traps. So let's get into the 40 card main deck. So I opted to play the maximum amount of Pydra, the 1 of Chandra, recently put to 1 on the limited list. And then Tenpai Dragon Fadra at 2. And then finally, 2 Tenpai Dragon Genroku. To go along with that engine, we do play the 2 targets for Pydra, the main ones. Sangan Kaiman to special summon during the battle phase in simultaneously search. And then the 1 Sangan summoning. To reach this more consistently, we do play a couple of cards in the form of terraforming to search it out, as well as set rotation. Now, in my experience, playing set rotation is really nice, except if you draw it with a field spell. So I opted to play 2 of the more broken field spells that you could play. The 1 Pressured Planet Raceloth, which can actually get your Fenrir out, which automatically applies a ton of pressure and replaces itself in your hand. And then I also played Wave Where There's a Will. I've been playing this in Tenpai for a very long time, and it's essentially Pot of Prosperity going second. Your opponent has to out it, or else you're going to see your combo pieces. It just increases your consistency going second by a long shot. So that's it for the Tenpai engine in the main deck. So I'll move on to the next portion. So to search off of our Planet Raceloth, we do play the 3 Fenrir. We're not messing around with Unicorn or anything like that. We don't want to bog down this deck. We are an OTK deck. We want to simplify the game state with our Fiendsmith package and our Fenrirs and our Bystials and just kill our opponent. But we can afford to get to a grind game because of the resilience of the Bystial package and of the Fiendsmith package. So the 3 Fenrir. And then next up, the Fiendsmith package. So usually people are playing 3 Engraver, but this is a budget list. I borrowed this from Emmanuel. Shout out to Emmanuel Week. 1 Lacrima. And then I don't even have a Tract. But as long as you don't have your Fenrir on board, the Fiendsmith Sanct is a great target. If you're only playing 1 Engraver, I highly recommend playing a target for it in your deck, so that if you do draw it, you can send it to graveyard in order to search a card. And you don't need to play the Lurie with this, which cuts down the card count. Obviously, you're not seeing your Fiendsmith package as much, but spoiler alert, in the extra deck, we have a generic Link 2 Light Fiend in the form of Moon of the Closed World. So we can always access our Fiendsmith engine. So normally you're special summoning the Lacrima and then dumping the Engraver and then going from there. But I'm sure you guys have seen a bunch of Fiendsmith play if you're watching this deck. But yeah, really small engine, literally just 3 cards in the main deck. And you're fine. You could replace this with Tract and then also play a Lurie, which was recently reprinted in the Quarter Century Bonanza Rarity Collection 3. So that is another option, but this is really all you need. This gives you access to DD Wave King High Caesar. It gives you access to the very powerful Desiree, Fiendsmith Desiree. And in addition to that, it also gives you access to Chaos Angel, because you have a very powerful recurring level 4 light monster that you can make either with the Engraver or your Necroquip Princess or a Bystial. So you're making a light and dark Chaos Angel very easily in this strategy, which is awesome. And I can't overstate how powerful that is to be able to do that. Most people also do play the Trap, which is insane. It's a super rare out of I don't know exactly which set. Probably the set that this came out in, Rhoda? Probably Rhoda. But, yeah, I forgot what it's called, but you can banish it from your graveyard to send your Desiree from your extra deck to your graveyard as a disruption. That is one of the most crucial parts of the deck. So if you had that card, definitely throw it somewhere on the list. It's, like, amazing. I'll put out a combo video later just for, like, the budget list. Because, like, honestly, everything in this deck is super, super cheap right now. Except for the Engraver, honestly. Like, that's literally it. Next up, Lubellions. Well, hopefully you guys already have your Lubellions, because I think these did shoot up. But you should have had these from last format. If you don't, then you could probably just get away with just playing the Bystials. We play the 3 Lubellion for this broken card, Branded Regained. It just works so well with your Fiendsmith engine by being able to recycle them and just get that constant advantage. And it ties really well with the Tenpai package as well, because your Bystial Magnamut can actually search out your Genroku or your Pydra, even, like anything really. So you do play the Regained, the Magnamut, Druis Worm. This is very expensive now, so you can actually cut this for a Sorinir if you want, and then the Baldrake, you should be able to easily get a Baldrake. But yeah, I think even the super rares are like $15 right now. Unbelievable. Now, so to continue on with the hand traps, we play 3 Nib for 6, 3 Ash for 9, 3 Veiler for 12, and then 3 Infinite Impermanence for 15 hand traps in the main deck. Now, on top of that, you should be playing the 6 Mulcharmies as well for a 46 card deck with, what's it called? 21 hand traps, which is like bonkers, but like you really need it. Some people are also playing Mourner as well. And then finally, the 40th card is Triple Tactics Talents. It's a really strong card. You're going to be getting hand trapped. And if you're trying to break a board, this works great to draw cards or steal a threat monster, or even just to rip a hand trap out of your opponent's hand. Very, very strong card, obviously. Didn't bother with Thrust in this list, though. Although it's relatively budget right now, I just didn't think that it was very good. There was no like super broken targets that you could get off this. If you were like also playing the Fiendsmith Tract, then maybe you could justify Thrust. But that would mainly be going for going second, and this deck can go first, and you're wanting to go first if you win the die roll. Just a heads up on there. Next up, extra deck, just a bunch of tokens, the Nib token for the Nib. Now, the Synchro package, so we've got the 2 Bident Dragion, the Transcendent Dragion, and the Trident Dragion. This is all you need for the Tenpai core. Like, you're not messing around with, like, Black Rose Dragon and all that BS to try and clear the board, because we lost the ability to recur our, what's it called, our Pydra, or not Pydra, the Chandra, effectively. So it's either OTK or bust, which is why you grind down your opponent, make sure they use all their hand traps, break their board, and then on the crackback, kill them with the Tenpai engine, which is a very extremely strong, resilient engine. That also makes Heavenly Spheres, which is broken in its own right. Also, that Chaos Angel that I mentioned, you don't need a tuner for this. Just light monsters or dark monsters or a combination of the two, and it has very broken protective effects for your monsters if you manage to make it. Like, imagine making this and then going full Tenpai combo during your battle phase. This will protect your guys from monster effects, I believe. Yeah, Synchro monsters are unaffected by monster effects from your opponent, which is insane. But yeah, on to fusions. We do play the Necroquip Princess, another level 6 dark, besides the Bystials that you can use to make the Chaos Angel, or you can overlay with it to make the DDD, since you're only playing 1 Engraver. Here's the Desiree that you can make. You don't have the trap card in this list, but I do recommend playing it, because when it goes to graveyard, you send a Light Fiend back to your deck in order to send a card on the field to the graveyard. And then the 1 Xyz is the DDD Wave King High Caesar. Very powerful card that negates up to 2 special summons and destroys. Next up, the links, we have the 1 Requiem, the 1 Sequence, and the 1 Moon. So this gets you into your engine, any 2 bodies. You also have your Heavenly Spheres for your Dragon package for Tenpai. SP Little Knight's just generically good. You don't even have to use its effect to banish. It just helps you dodge things more effectively. Shout out to Team Bad Cards for this. And I opted to play Hida and then 1 princess, because princess is absolutely broken. You can even cut the Fiendsmith engine for a heavier Kashtira package and use the Mecha Phantom Beast Draco Sack to make the Cherubini and dump your Pydra and link off the Cherubini with the Mecha Phantom Beast Draco Sack for your princess, and you bring back the Pydra, and then you go full combo from there. So that's just a cute thing that you can do with level 7 bodies, but since we have access to the Fiendsmith engine for this deck, that's why we opted to play the stronger strategy, which is the Fiendsmith version. But if you guys are watching this just to get ideas about Tenpai, I would recommend that you try at least the Kashtira build. Let me know in the comment section if you need more details on that, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So that's the 15-card extra deck, and let's just wrap this up with the side deck. Now, side deck is going to be based on your locals. I opted to play Shifter, since you can play through it usually. Obviously, it'll shut down your Tenpai package, but if you can stop your opponent completely, or not Tenpai package, I'm sorry, your Fiendsmith package. But if you can stop your opponent completely with Shifter, if it's like a rogue deck, then you could put this in and then just OTK. But if you don't have access to your Tenpai engine in your opening hand, then do not bother with this. Like, don't activate it. So really, for the average player, this is probably not something that you would want to consider. But just be very careful with it if you do decide to play it. 3 Lancia, speaking of floodgates, this is the opposite of Dimension Shifter, so your opponent can't banish. Mostly against Malice, but you can use it up against a bunch of different strategies, like if Dinosaur pops up again. Shout out to Dino Tony. Droll, just floodgates, floodgates, floodgates. Like, you want your opponent to do very little to nothing, and then you want to kill them. Because you don't have access to the very expensive Molcharmies, this is very good for you. Next up, just utility cards. So the Kawaki Meru Draku, if you're playing against a specific dark or light deck, this can really, really put a hindrance on your opponent. I know Yubel fell off. You're probably not going to see any Drytron, but having this in your extra deck, or side deck, just makes you feel safer going into rogue matchups. Because there are those decks out there, like Blackwing, Phantom Knights. Like, you will face those in a larger tournament, and this is just one slot in your side deck that will make that matchup a lot easier, and you don't have to think, and you have more time to kill them in Game 3. Very powerful card. Harpy's Feather Duster and Double Lightning Storm, just really good for clearing out stuff that you don't want to have to deal with your other engines. Called by the Grave, and then the 1 searchable Sangan Kaiho. If you're going to go first for sure, this is a very powerful card that can end your opponent's main phase 1. And then just force them into the battle phase where you can do a bunch of shenanigans, and then at least you don't die. So basically, it's like a threatening roar that's searchable, which is nice in Tenpai. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Keep an eye out for the combo video later on, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.